and quite frankly, great scoring opportunities. Now, Cowgirls did the same thing to Notre Dame. Their coach probably had some moments where his heart was either it skipped a beat or it started beating double time. But that's good soccer, and that's good soccer defense. It's good soccer offense. It's good ball movement. And Colin and I kind of messaged back and forth just briefly on that last night. He joins us now. Um, I didn't make it, but I watched every bit of it on my computer and was locked in. Colin, that was really good, high quality soccer last Sunday at Neil Patterson.
Yeah, it was to me it was just two very good teams locked in a really close game that could have gone either way. And obviously we're biased to our team. We're glad we won, but I think any neutral just watching that game on TV would have thought, it was just a really competitive game. Lots of good soccer, lots of good chances, lots of good saves.
One of the things that comes up in the college game sometimes is the ball doesn't move as freely as you probably would like to see it. It gets bogged down sometimes, and sometimes it's physicality, sometimes it's conditions, and that can even be the field that you're playing on. But it was a beautiful day. The wind was there, but it wasn't overpowering like it can be sometimes. And of course, you have one of the best turf, natural turf soccer fields in the country. And those two teams were able to show their skills.
Yeah, college soccer is interesting when you compare it to the pro game because, in the pros you've got the top technical players in the world, and they're able to solve some issues. So if you go pressure a team, in the professional league, they'll pass or dribble or skill their way out of it. And in college, it doesn't happen as much, so it does become a little bit more frantic and a little bit more, there's kind of a higher energy and less thought process at times. So the game can become a little bit crazy, but I think with the heat and the nice playing surface and the style that both teams wanted to play, it made for a really open passing game. And, we were happy with that because I think that suits us, and it certainly suited Notre Dame as well. So I think that makes it easy to watch for the fans. They're watching the ball move around the field, and, lots of combinations, lots of good passing movements. And it was, like I said, of course, in the moment, in the game, you're just trying to win. But, I watched it back as well, and I thought, man, that was a really good game.
Yeah, talk about, like I said, there were a couple of times Notre Dame, looked like, wow, this is a huge scoring opportunity. And whether it was one of your defenders or it was the keeper, the thing that I admired, no one ever lost their head. Your players on the back end, even when it's crunch time, as far as a play is a chance for a play is about to be made against them. You don't see anybody flipping out. I mean, they're all pretty calm, much calmer than probably you are, and I bet much calmer than I was watching it a couple of times.
Yeah, for sure. For both teams, there was moments in both penalty boxes in that game. I mean, the score could have been 3-2 or 4-3. It was, there were some good looks for both teams, and I think you mentioned Emily Plotz made, 2 or 3 really point blank saves that kept us either even or gave us a chance to win. And their keeper made 2 really nice plays as well. One from Olivia Dow that we saw the video. I pre-celebrated. I thought it was in for sure, and their keeper reached out her hand and made a save. So yeah, there's a couple of moments there. But our team, you're right. I really felt like when Notre Dame scored, they had all the momentum, and it would have been quite easy for our team to panic and lose focus. But they did a great job. They hung in there and kind of weathered the storm at the end of the first half. And I thought the second half we came out and really regained control of the game to some degree and created some good looks. So yeah, they remained composed. And I think part of that's just, we have some experienced players that have been in some big games before. And so, if you're new to that, you tend to freak out a little bit. But when you've played a lot of high level games in your career, you tend to handle those situations a little bit better.
Last thing on the Notre Dame game, I love the mindset that apparently your team came out with to start the overtime. because sometimes I feel like, okay, very defensive, which that's a bedrock principle for your program, your culture is the defense. But uh, the Cowgirls came out, I thought, very offensive, very aggressive oriented offensively, and wasted really no time in pressuring Notre Dame. And then that opportunity there for Gabriella was, my worry was, I thought for a moment she was offsides.
Yeah,
And then when I went back and looked at it, she was just so quick once she got the ball. She wasn't. She was clean.
yeah, it was on. That goal was interesting to us. So, at times as coaches, you come up with a game plan. Like TCU is a great example. We came up with some things that we thought would help our team and give them a chance to win, and it didn't work. TCU had a better game plan, and we were disappointed in ourselves as coaches. We didn't think we did a good enough job preparing our team. Then you fast forward to Notre Dame, and we saw, Justin watched some video, and he saw something they did on the right side of their team that we could exploit. So we took them out to training and showed them video, and then walked through kind of a scenario. And it's exactly how the goal played out. We won the ball on our end. We moved it quickly into the left sort of channel of our team. Olivia picked up the ball and basically shrugged off a really hard tackle from the Notre Dame kid about the midfield line, and drove into the space that was open because of the way Notre Dame plays. And so we exploited that space, which was great. As a coach, when your kids take something that you work on in training and they do it in a game, it makes you really happy. And then it was interesting. G, I think, initially ran offside, and then Olivia was patient enough to wait for G to get back onside and then slipped her the pass. So just the timing and everything was great. So we were, it's great that they watched the video and probably took on board what we showed them, and then having the ability to execute it. Olivia pausing her pass just long enough to let G get onside, and G being technically good enough to finish the chance. It was it was a big moment. We were really fired up after it went in on the sideline, that's for sure.
Yeah, it was really cool, and like I said again, Notre Dame's not having the season that they probably thought, but I still think they're a very talented team, and I'm kind of anxious to see what happens in their match with TCU.
Yeah, it's they're good. We knew on video they were very, very athletic. They've got some top level athletes, and some of the names on their team are kids that 2, 3, 4 years ago we recruited and or tried to recruit and maybe couldn't get in on them because they were so highly sought after. So their season hasn't gone the way they planned, but they're still ultra talented, and TCU is a very good team. And if I was a betting man, I would probably pick TCU to win, but I think Notre Dame can give them all they want and then some if they play like they did against us.
All right, your team now is in the wait mode, which the good thing you're in the wait mode. You're going in that bubble. But how do you handle this, and how do you make this time work for you and your kids before you do go in the bubble to go play for postseason?
Yeah, it's an interesting balancing act for us because we don't play this weekend. A lot of teams do before the selection show. There's a lot of conference tournaments that did not take place in the fall that are going on right now. So a lot of the teams that will be in the NCAA tournament have games this week and this weekend, so they'll have 7 to 10 days to get ready for the tournament. We're looking at 14, 15 days, that we don't play a game before we go, out to North Carolina. So we're using this week to really rest up a couple of the high minute kids, that maybe, knees a little tight or sore, groins a little tight, quads tight. We're using these extra days to make sure those kids feel as good as they can. And then, we also have a responsibility to some of the players who haven't played as many minutes to keep pushing them because, they need to be up to speed if needed. So really trying to get the balance right and, leading up to the selection show Monday. And then, once we know our opponent, we can really ramp it back up next week because we'll still have, anywhere from, 7, 8, 9 days to get ready for that first round game. So a little bit of rest and recovery and a little bit of keeping them sharp and then ramping it back up again to get them ready to play a game. So it's new to us. It's interesting. It's different, but hopefully we'll get we'll get it right to the best of our ability. And no matter who we play out there, we're one of 48 teams that get to compete, and out of about 330 women's soccer teams. So it's pretty special, and our kids have really earned that opportunity, and we're just excited. We don't care. We talked the other day, and it's like, put us on a parking lot, put us in any stadium, let us play Carolina, Duke. It doesn't matter. We get to keep playing, and that's what we'll do.
Now, how much do your I know you guys have the hot and the cold tubs, and I know, I don't even know what they're called, but these kind of suits that players put on their legs. And do your girls, are they high tech with rehab and like you said, trying to do some body maintenance and get freshened up for the postseason?
Yeah, they are. Todd Gertz, our athletic trainer, and he's got all the gadgets and everything we could need. And especially since we moved into Neil Patterson Stadium, we have our own training room over here with the hot and cold tubs and everything you can imagine. So yeah, our kids are in. Most of them are in every day, doing some sort of maintenance or some sort of recovery work. So yeah, Todd works really hard with them and does a great job with our team, and they have everything they need to give themselves the best chance to be ready to play.
All right, two quick questions. Postseason honors. I know you had two girls, including Gabriella, that picked up honors from the past week. But will the All Big 12 team come out again, or how's that going to work?
Yeah, it's a weird one. No, the All Big 12 stuff went in the fall simply because we played all our conference games then. Right. However, they still do all region and all American honors, and that nomination process actually opens this week. So I feel like we've got probably 4 or 5 players who would have a shot at getting some all region recognition, and maybe 2 or 3 players that have a shot of getting the all American recognition. So, we'll nominate our kids, and then it comes down to who votes for who. But last year we had Kim Rodriguez, who was an all American. I certainly think she'd have a chance to get on there again. And you look at Grace Yoakum and Olivia Dow, and their statistics are really good. Yoakum's leading the NCAA in game-winning goals. So I would think Grace and Olivia would also have a shot. So we'll get them nominated, and hopefully they get some well-deserved recognition.
Big 12, who do you think, I know this is a dangerous thing to speculate on, and certainly TCU and your team, who else do you think gets in possibly to the 48?
Yeah, I think we've got 3 teams in. I think you got TCU as the champion from the fall. I think you got West Virginia, who were runners-up in the fall, and they beat Duke and Virginia this spring, so I think they're a lock. And then I think we're the 3rd team out of the Big 12. So I think we have 3 solid, and then if they go further, you're probably looking at Kansas. But, Kansas has had a really stop-start spring, and that probably hurt them. Texas would have been the next team, and they've only played, I think, 3 or 4 games this spring due to some cancellations. So I really think the Big 12's got 3 locks, ourselves included, and that's it. But I do think all 3 teams would have a shot of getting a top 16 seed. I certainly think TCU's a lock for that. West Virginia's probably on the inside of that, and we were maybe right on the edge of the 16. So pretty good numbers for the Big 12, and I think all 3 teams are good enough to make some noise in postseason.
No doubt about that. So, hey, congratulations. It was a great match to finish the home schedule, and now we'll look forward to – now, have you heard I know the volleyball coaches were upset because a lot of their matches have been relegated to ESPN+, but have you heard or the TV arrangements, or are you even really caring about that right now?
No, it's been talked about a little bit with some of the coaches, but – our tournament, it's a weird setup with TV. In the past, the Final Four has been televised by ESPN or ESPN2, but all the lead-up games have kind of been the responsibility of each school because it's been host sites. So, if we played a game here, we would stream it, through our services, and it might be on ESPN+, or it might just be picked up, just through our YouTube channel or whatever it may be. And that's what all the schools had done in the past. Now that we've moved out to North Carolina, I would imagine that all the games need to be streamed for sure because, there's a lot of friends and family that can't get out there. They can't take time off work to get out there and watch their kids play. So it's been addressed. I don't know what the solution is. We're still waiting to really find out how that tournament's going to be set up and how it's going to work. All we know is the dates, and it's somewhere in North Carolina. That's really all we know right now. So hopefully Monday some of that will get cleared up, and we'll get a little more information.
Enjoy a little downtime, and we'll look forward to the Cowgirls competing in the NCAA National Championship Tournament. So appreciate
sounds
it.
Great, Robert.
All right, Colin Carmichael, head coach of the Oklahoma State Cowgirls, and again,